Hi, and welcome back to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Self. Today's episode is all about the value of saying no and setting healthy boundaries. Okay, you know it's going to be a good one when I start the conversation out by saying okay. So let's just dive right in. Picture with me this. You are a mom, a wife, a homemaker, a caretaker, a mom who works a 9 to 5 and is also a homemaker, a single working mom, a widow, a grandmother. You get the point. You are in demand everywhere, pulled every which way but your own. Where does it stop? When did it start? Let's pause and let me ask you a couple questions. So, what happens to a car that is running on fumes? Well, it stops. It doesn't drive anymore. And what happens to a candle when it's burnt out at both ends? Well, eventually it just burns out. And what do you get when you pour from an empty cup? Nothing, absolutely nothing, because it's empty. And just like that, your body is giving out. It's weak, you have aches and pains, fatigue, energy, what is that anymore? Your skin is dry and cracking with itchiness and that rash. Where did that even come from? You don't even want to take a shower or get out of bed in the mornings, let alone want to be intimate with your spouse. And the tragic story goes on and on and on. I've been there. I've made myself so sick and weak and tired with tons of moodiness. And when I did eat, it was fast, on the go, once a day because I, quote unquote, had no time. My periods were painful, and forget a sex drive, I didn't feel good or look good, so I was never in the mood. As you know, stress does major damage on the body. You feel it on the inside, and then you actually start to see it on the outside. You start to gain weight in not so flattering areas, all because your digestion shuts down. Your cortisol and insulin is all over the place, and your blood sugar is spiking over the charts. You get dehydrated, and your skin definitely shows it. And let's just talk about the liver and the damage it does there without being fleshed and, the excess toxins that build up from your body. It just gets stored up because it's not being fleshed. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not staying hydrated. We're eating on the go. We forget to even drink. I've done that sometimes. I forget to even take sips of water at work. I would just go the whole day without it. And trust me, I paid for it later. And we all know our thoughts and mind directly affect our body. And who knew that stress is one of the leading causes in infertility, diseases, chronic illness, adrenal fatigue, cancers, and yes, of course, hormonal imbalance. With all that being said, there is power in saying no. You should try it. No, really, go on, try it now. Go ahead, look in the mirror and say no. I'll pause. So how did that feel? Maybe awkward, maybe silly. You might have even laughed, but it probably also felt good, like it released something, like releasing pressure. I used to be a people pleaser. I wanted to make people happy. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And so I did a job that was rewarding, but not satisfying or healthy for that matter, just because I thought I needed to. That's the only thing I knew. Since I was 17, that's the only thing I knew. Until one day, I looked in the mirror and didn't know who I was anymore. And that's the truth. I seen me, but didn't really see me. I lost my identity, my truths, who I was at the core, and all because I was so busy wearing so many hats, but my own, that I was the person everyone wanted me to be, said I needed to be, and expected me to be. I was crying a lot, disappointed, I felt stuck, but more importantly, I was lost. Then I did it. I talked with my spouse, although very nervous because, again, I needed to be pleasing to him and this job made him happy. It was really good income for our family. But the conversation was relieving. He was supportive and understanding. So I did it. I turned in my resignation letter and officially retired that hat as a certified medical assistant and left an over 2 decades long career that wasn't healthy for me in all aspects of my life. I said no to things and people who I thought needed me, when in reality, I was expendable, easily replaced, and the world still goes round and round. But in letting that go, I said yes to me, to my mental, spiritual, and physical health. I encourage you to say yes to you. Go out and do what brings you joy, even if it's 20 minutes a day, but fill that joy tank. Fill it up in self-care. And I don't mean having to spend money on a day spa or massage or anything like that at all. Even all the time you don't have to. But just going outside, taking the sun, taking the rain, breathe fresh air, laugh, sing, something. Set up your healthy boundaries. Your hormones and your body will thank you. And what I've realized, others will thank you too. What are your non-negotiables each day? What is something that you can confidently say is a must, and you are putting your foot down and setting yourself first in all of it? Remember, self-care is not selfish. There is a time and place for yourself as well as responsibilities, and of course, your family. But please don't forget yourself. Make out a list, even if it's a list of one thing that you can do this week as a non-negotiable in your day, and stick with it. See how that feels. See how others respond to it. For instance, my one non-negotiable is morning cuddles with my hubby and dogs, as well as reading the Bible and should be prayer. It can really be small, nothing drastic. So there is value in saying no to things that is just not the right time if you already have your plate full with other things. And it's okay to ask for help and delegate tasks. It's really okay. It's okay to give yourself grace and permission to not overwhelm yourself mentally or emotionally or physically. It's okay to say yes to being alone for a few minutes, taking a break just to be still, wanting to stay home one weekend instead of going out with the girls. It's really okay. All right. I hope this has you thinking on what your non-negotiables are and what boundaries you can start setting today. Remember, because this is important, your thoughts do affect your body. And when you burn out or overload mentally, your physical body will also. I'll see you on the next episode.